dare you cut off part of my penis and pretend you did me a favor? You're nothing but a child molester.
Let it falls with stethoscope. Show me what's with stethoscope. That's all you are.
Tori Caswell, we are live on Facebook.
Hi, Facebook.
Day 2 of the
Thank
2019
you, Warriors.
AAP convention protests. You have come from Stillwater, Oklahoma. We have a great turnout of activists today, so large, in fact, that we sent about 20 people down to the French Quarter, where there are also thousands of tourists. These doctors, we have enough people on hand here to handle these doctors. We have about 20 people here, men, women, and children. Tori Caswell, anything stand out? Any observations here at on Sunday, the second day of bloodstainment protests here at the AAP convention?
We are not getting a lot of interaction from the doctors today. We have these barricades up, and very few doctors.
Well, let's specify. We don't have them up. The barricades were put up.
Yes.
Let me just go around this way and let our viewers see. So you can see we have been restrained by police barricades to have this open area, and you can see the barricades on the other side. So they've cleared an area here, this open ground into the convention center.
So the police are protecting the physicians who are inflicting this crime on the genitals of our infants and restricting our ability to hand out information and engage in conversations. But what are you going to do? We don't want to get arrested, so. I didn't come to New Orleans to get arrested.
One advantage, however, Tori Caswell, is that more of these doctors have been stopping on the stairs there and in the plaza to take our photographs.
Yeah, we are getting a lot of photographs, and I think I've heard a lot of conversations of physicians saying things like, "I didn't cut my sons," or "I don't do the cutting in my city," but.
Let's go see if we can find out what this is all about. Sounds like some drunks. Tori Caswell, you're well, I'm over here on this side now. Your family is at home. Do they support you in you coming out here and doing this?
They do, definitely. My husband supports my activism. He's not an activist himself. He is an activist by proxy. Through me, through supporting our children. I have 3 sons. They're all intact. Their foreskins have never harmed them. They're glad to have their whole bodies. So.
Thank you, Tori Caswell, Oklahoma mom, out here in New Orleans with Bloodstainment and their friends. And we see these doctors. They are not proud of themselves, Tori Caswell.
It's tough out here. Emotionally, it's very draining. There's a lot of pain and a lot of struggle that you can feel in the air. The change is coming. We're demanding it.
And it's simple justice for American men and women.
Yeah.
And thank you, Tori Caswell. Here's Rick from Chicago. Rick, and you have your sign says it all, American Academy of Pediatrics, and dedicated to the genital mutilation of children. And Rick drove down from Chicago, ladies and gentlemen, to be here. Thank you, Rick from Chicago. Oh, and yes, let's only quacks cut healthy children. It really is true. Rick from Chicago, ladies and gentlemen.
Happy to join forces with a great crew of activists and activists and human rights activists from all over Canada, Oklahoma, Michigan, Illinois, Chicago, Gary,
Hawaii, Boston.
We're converging on these human rights violators that need their minds stretched to where they realize that what they're doing is mutilation. It's not just some mindless medical procedure.
Thank you, Rick from Chicago.
Thank you.
David Atkinson. Rick from Chicago raises a very, very simple point that once Americans understand it, circumcision's days will be numbered. It is genital mutilation.
That's right. People who understand the functions of the foreskin protect their children from foreskin amputation. So that's why we are spreading awareness, because that's what will help solve this problem. And there are people who say, oh, well, I cut my son's penis and I do understand it. And I think that's incredibly rare. I think the statement that I just made, that people who understand this protect their children, I think that's true. Because there are very few people that intentionally want to harm their children. And so if they say I studied the foreskin and I still allowed it to be cut off of my child, it means they didn't really understand the issue to begin with.
Good point. Good point. Do you have any observations or comments to make about the doctors going in and out of this? They sort of have to do a perp walk between our ranks.
Yeah, I haven't said very much to any of them because I can't very often think of anything that I would like to say. But I mean, it's difficult to find words to talk to such evil people. So I usually just stand here silently and
we have had several of them tell us that they don't do circumcisions, that we should be talking to the OBGYNs.
Oh yeah, of course they say that. And then 6 months later, the OBGYNs tell us that we should come here. And so that's just a blame game that everybody likes to play. We know that somebody's cutting up of the penises of little babies, and we know that it's both of them. And so they like to point the finger so that they don't feel bad, but they also like to point the fingers at the parents, which is a shame because they're tricking the parents into letting them do this, and then they're blaming the parents for allowing it to happen to their kids. So yeah, these are not my favorite type of event because the audience is generally quite hostile, but they need to know that we're not happy that our penises were damaged and that we're not going to stop complaining until they stop damaging the penises of future generations.
Right. We are not going to roll over and let this happen to the next generation of men. Thank you, David Atkinson.
You're very welcome.
Co-director of Bloodstained Men and Their Friends. And I will make my way over to the other side, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't get a chance to go to Stone. If I get a chance, I'm going to give me a frat.
Officer Toro.
You did tell me that, yes.
I'm live on Facebook. Would it be okay if I walk along the front and talk to people and stuff like that? So I'll walk along the front. To talk to my people.
Yeah, as long as you don't engage yourself.
Right. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now on the other side of the barricade. You can see that the barricade over there, and I did negotiate with the police to get that barricade for us over there. Initially, if you watched my live broadcast yesterday, you see that this barricade was not here yesterday, but overnight, I guess they got together with the police, got together with the convention authorities, and they decided to. It actually has extended what's called our free speech area, but we are restrained from being out here in this open space. You can see the doctors and passersby, so we're not going to give us a barricade over there where we could have people over there, so I did negotiate that for us. This actually has worked, I believe, to our advantage. Doctors are taking more photographs. Here's Jessica Rigdon. And Jessica Rigdon, let's see if we can get a glimpse of your little Nathan. Well, Nathan is breastfeeding right now, so I don't know what Facebook policies are, and I don't want to run afoul of them.
Fine. Yeah.
But we'll get back to you and Nathan a little bit later.
Okay.
But Jessica Rigdon, what are you seeing out here today?
I'm seeing a lot of American ignorance, but I'm also seeing, the international doctors giving us thumbs up. they know the truth, and we're telling them to, you know, tell their American colleagues the truth.
And here's a woman on this side of the barricade talking. She, I don't know if she's a doctor or but go ahead. I apologize for interrupting you.
No, you're fine.
But you mentioned that the people interacting with us.
Yeah, the international doctors, it's very obvious that they don't, you know, they know the truth and they don't cut the ways and are likely intact themselves. And a lot of our chants seem to be striking a nerve, like we were shouting, "Baby boys are born perfect" to AAP, "Shame on you," and so that's kind of speaking to them. But definitely all eyes are on us out here.
Yeah,
and I think we're going to be the talk of the convention. So.
Yeah, and I heard that from someone. One of the conventioneers did tell another intactivist that actually we are the talk of the convention.
Oh yeah.
Thank you,
You
Jessica
can't deny
Rigdon,
this.
nurse from Southern Illinois, and she is breastfeeding her little newborn Nathan. Let's see if we can take a peek at Nathan. And he is latched on and just.
He's very peaceful.
And he's 2 months old now.
No, 2 weeks.
2 weeks old.
2 weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yes, I should
very
realize
fresh
that.
and new.
He was just born, and he's a hardy traveler and traveled with you and your husband James.
He's done great.
And we'll give a shout out to your daughter Natalia,
Yes.
and your son Nolan at home.
Yeah.
And
My sister, she's an intactivist as well.
And your sister
She's got
Cheyenne.
Yeah, she's got them at home.
Maybe
so.
they'll see this live broadcast.
Yeah, she will. She'll see it. She watches them.
Well, shout out to Cheyenne and Natalia and Nolan.
She's always spreading the word as well. So.
Thank you, Jessica Rigdon.
You're welcome.
And ladies and gentlemen, you can see the doctors, they're calling it the perp walk. The doctors are doing the perp walk between the barricades on each side. There's Franny Max on the other side. We'll go and talk to her in a little bit. Here's Luke Artanis manning the barricades here. Luke Artanis, do you feel pinned in today here?
Not really, a little bit, but one way of looking at it is that the free speech zone increased and the intactivist presence increased. We certainly look bigger today, and the barricade also allows doctors to feel more comfortable taking photos. So we've seen a lot more of that.
Yeah.
And I think we've probably had some more conversations today, I think, too.
And I don't know if it was you but I saw a conventioner approached an intactivist and said that we are the talk of the convention inside.
Yeah, we hear that every year.
Thank you, Luke Artanis. Ryan Lessel, what are you seeing here on the front lines?
All kinds of things. Some supportive doctors, some crazy nut jobs.
Yeah.
Who, it's amazing how many of these pediatricians come up and swear pediatricians don't do this. You've got to go to the OBGYNs. And we always say the same thing. They both do it, and we do go to the OBGYNs every year. But that doesn't always get through. But I don't know. It's mixed today, but I feel pretty good about it.
Thank you, Ryan Lessel. My body belongs to me. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have 20 more people out here today who have marched over to the French Quarter. They, I believe, started at Jackson Square. If they come back, I don't know when they'll be back here later today, but because there are thousands of tourists over there in the French Quarter in New Orleans today, so we have split up our two groups today. But I'm pleased to. Here's Diego. Diego, did I get your name right, sir?
I'm Blake.
Blake, pardon me. Blake, you have come out today. Tell us why you're here.
I'm out here today supporting staying intact because I was cut at birth, and I want to make sure that we stop all of the infant circumcisions that are happening across the country and in the world.
And how did you come to this movement?
I came to this movement by when I first started researching the foreskin, the penis, and learned about restoration.
This was like 8 or 10 years ago, you told me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I learned about restoration, and then from there started promoting intactivism.
And what progress do you see over the years?
I've seen a lot of progress personally, just from my restoration efforts, but also talking to people, friends, family who are having baby boys, and try to stop the infant circumcisions.
Thank you, Blake. And where are you from?
I am from Gray, Louisiana.
So you drove, how far drive did you have?
It's about 45 minutes to an hour.
45 minutes. Well, thanks for joining us here.
Thank you.
On the front lines at the AAP convention, ladies and gentlemen, you can see the Memorial Convention Center. Those of you who saw it yesterday, you can see that they actually have a heavier police presence today. You may be able to see in the background as the people are doctors and conventioneers. They're not all doctors, some are exhibitors, but there's also a plainclothes officer. You can see him on the left of this screen in the blue shirt and the tan. So there's a heavy police presence, heavier police presence today than yesterday. Circumcision harms your patient and the man he will become. IntactAmerica.org, TLCTugger.com. Here is Jess from Mobile, Alabama. Doctors, can you list the many functions? Jess, we are live on Facebook. Do you want to talk to us for a minute? And Jess, you helped your father, Tom Maples, there in the background, drive over here from Mobile, Alabama. And I know Tom is a longtime intactivist and very, very committed.
Yeah.
And well spoken on it too.
All day, every day.
And I see him on the Facebook all the time.
Yeah. It's like his life mission now.
What is your impression of what you're seeing here today? Is this the first protest you've been to?
I've never protested anything. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm having a good time, honestly. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Do you want to introduce us to your dad? I've already met him, but I don't want to interrupt his. But I think if you come and introduce us.
Can I hop on the video? Hey,
Tom, can we talk to you live on the video? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jess's dad, Tom Maples. And Tom, you are a longtime intactivist. I see you have a baby circumcision playing on your screen. And can I've talked to you earlier, can I tell our viewers just briefly about you? You were injured in a diving accident about 20 years ago. And so, sadly, you did, unfortunately, you did lose, with the exception of your arm. If you show our viewers, you can move. And but this is not intactivism related. But Tom, you were showing us the technology has gotten. You are able to control your wheelchair with the breathing device there, with puffs of air, and you can rotate and turn backwards, and basically you can control it at will with that breathing device that has there's a computer program that it runs.
It's called Sip and Puff.
Sip and Puff. And how long has that technology been around?
It was around 20 years ago when I got injured. It's pretty much hasn't changed. Something Chris Reed used to drive.
So Tom, now to intactivism. Why do you feel so strongly about this, Tom? Clearly, you have a severe problem moving about, and you did tell me that no matter what you want to do, there's always someone in your way, which is a great sense of humor to deal with what clearly is the truth.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, life is an instruction. Well, you know, the whole fact that someone can suspend the gut humanistic urge to protect a child in distress for profit is disturbing. And the fact that America is set apart in the world different from the rest of the civilized world.
It really does. Oh, and I should tell our viewers what you told me. There is your, you were a critical care nurse prior to your injury.
Yes.
And that's your
my badge.
Hospital ID badge, it looks like.
Yeah.
So your life was turned upside down by one tragic accident probably on a weekend outing.
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving Day, actually. Went to the fish camp.
Now, how long have you been an intactivist or been aware of this issue?
Well, I'm intact due to circumstances and I kept my son intact in 1997. I never witnessed a circumcision going through nursing school, or I don't know, I would have been in Texas way sooner. I just became aware of it being the brutality of what they were doing in the last 5 years.
Now, Tom, I'll ask you a personal question because you mentioned it. You are intact, which I just learned for the first time here. And we hear all these stories about men in nursing homes. You are intact. Has your normal penis caused you any problems?
No, not in relationships either. No women ever had a problem with it.
But you can see Tom Maples, ladies and gentlemen. The mere thought of it is just absurd, isn't it, Tom?
I don't want no blade on my penis. I really don't.
So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, a man confined to a wheelchair, and an intact man, and he scoffs at the idea that his normal penis would cause him any problems.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I depend on somebody else to care for me totally, and I have no problems.
Thank you, Tom Maples. Thank you for being out here today with Bloodstained Men and their friends. On the front lines, Tom Maples and his daughter, Jen, from Mobile, Alabama. Thank you, Jen. And here's Drew. Drew, you have come from Washington. We'll talk to you in just a second. Let me show the, you can see, ladies and gentlemen, as we're talking, you can see that the pediatricians and exhibitors, the conventioneers are streaming into the hall as I'm talking to the protesters. Drew, you came down from Washington, D.C. to be here.
Yeah, I think it's a very important message that children should have the rights to their whole body, regardless of any other considerations. And, you know, I got into this because when I was about to have a son, I had to research this, and I saw how terrible this was for people. And for a while I just thought, well, everybody can research this and realize that this is a bad thing, but you know, that's obviously not happening, because every day in this country over 3,000 baby boys are mutilated, and I don't think that that is something that we can accept as a society. And so I'm here to speak out and let people know that that's
It's not something that we can accept as a society. It is so true. And these doctors are committing an infamous crime against our children.
Yeah, so I'm quite happy to be here to speak out for people that can't speak out for themselves, and I hope that many people hear this message and choose not to circumcise their children and stand up for the rights of the children.
And we do know that intactness is growing every day because parents do love their children. Thank you, Drew, from Washington, D.C. And ladies and gentlemen, you can see the conventioneers come and go, and they are seeing all of us here. We have a smaller crew out here outside the convention center because we sent 20 of us have gone, and it might be 22 or even more, but at least 20 of us are over in the French Quarter. James Lowen and several others in the lead over there in the French Quarter of the historic district of New Orleans. They have gone over to work the crowds over there, the crowds of tourists. Here's Michelle Park, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
And Michelle, you drove down from Indiana.
That's correct.
To join us on the front lines here. You are a nurse.
Yes.
And you have made waves. You've made waves in your at your local hospital, I believe.
I'm trying.
They have restricted you from when you can or can't say things. Tell us about what you're doing in Indiana.
Oh, well, basically they have given me the freedom to re-educate. I can potentially hold lunch and learns. I can table in the community. The only stipulation is that I cannot protest my institution, and I agreed, as long as they don't censor me in any other way. And so I've circulated about the suicides that have been happening with the young men that have been cut and are dealing with, again, the shaming, the ridicule that happens from the American women for speaking out about this. I almost have a sense of hopeless and helplessness from their reaction, so I can imagine how men must feel, the rejection and shaming that they undergo coming out here and speaking out. So I come here.
And I see some of these doctors have smirked at me.
Yes, well, a gentleman just came out and was talking with your board of director chairperson, saying that they're all in there complaining they feel ridiculed. We said, because we're yelling at them, and I said, well, when we stand here and are absolutely quiet, we don't get any engagement either. So if they don't want to be yelled at, come and talk to us. Get the information.
And here they are, ladies and gentlemen.
They're walking by. So they say they're being ridiculed, but they don't ever come and engage.
And you can see they are taking out their cameras. They are taking out their cameras.
Yeah, and they go in and complain. They were yelling, we're belittling them. Well, again, you laugh at us, you smirk, you mall walk, you ignore. There is no compassion in any of these people.
And here they are. Well, I have had several people tell me, I agree with you, thank you for being out here. But
I haven't seen much of that.
None of them will go on. None of them will go on the record.
And they are very quiet about it, and that's why
they're terrified of someone or something.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if we're going to be complacent in this, we're just as guilty. If we don't speak up, we don't find some way to fight this culture war, we're just as guilty, whether we've consented to a circumcision or not. And if we're doing nothing, doing nothing is not going to take care of this problem. So they walk in there, they do business with them, they're just as guilty. And that's my position.
And you can see, ladies and gentlemen, the crowds continue to come in and out of the convention center here, the Memorial Convention Center here in New Orleans. Thank you, Michelle Park,
Cutting off
Indiana
part of
nurse.
a baby's penis is violence, not peace. It's violence to cut a child's genitals.
I do not want my grandchildren growing up in a genital cutting society.
And ladies and gentlemen, I will show you, let you see this view of the barricade here. But it is actually extended, it has extended our reach into the plaza, so we actually control more of the plaza than we did yesterday. Yesterday we were free to mingle about as long as we kept moving. So it's a mixed blessing. On balance, I think that this is an advantage for us. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce you to Christopher. And Christopher, I ended the cycle, and we know what that means, Christopher, and that is a courageous statement for an American man to make. Congratulations, Dad.
Thank you.
And you've brought your family out here.
Yes, they're running around somewhere.
Maybe we can get them up on the wall, and you all can introduce them. Are they able to get up here and stand up here, and we can introduce all your kids? So this is Christopher, and Christopher, you are about a half hour out of, or about 20, 30 minutes out of town, out in the suburbs.
Yep.
And you ended the cycle.
Yes.
Now, how did you come by this knowledge?
So we actually made this choice, I guess, so we were living in Scotland at the time. We were living in Europe.
Hold on just a second. Hold that thought, because all your kids are up here. Can we introduce?
My body, my choice. My body, my choice. My body, my choice. Say, God made me perfect. God made me perfect.
You have a small army here.
Yes. They are perfect. God made them perfect. God made them perfect.
And you want to tell us their names and ages?
What's your name? Nehemiah. Malcolm.
Malcolm and Nehemiah.
How old are you? 4. 5.
5, 4.
How old are you? Say 2.
2. And what's her name?
This is Summer. She's perfect too.
Summer is perfect too.
Yes.
And
I'm Gideon, and I'm 7 years old.
Gideon is 7 years old. Thank you, Gideon.
What do you say, Gideon? You're welcome.
My body, my choice. Awesome. Let me just back off. Let me just back off. What a wonderful. This is the American family, ladies and gentlemen. The intact generation is here, and you can see it. Mandy and Christopher and their beautiful, beautiful children. Mandy, thank you for being out here. Yes. Tom, tell us. You were living in Scotland.
So we were living in Scotland.
When was this, and what brought you to Scotland?
So I was in Scotland 2008 to 2011. I was doing school there, and Mandy was working in a preschool environment, and she noticed that a lot of boys are intact there. And so,
so you're an American too, then?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And I wanted to know why. Why were they intact there? And why
So you were a couple then?
Yes, we were already married.
Okay, got it.
And so we did research, and we decided that we were looking at having our first child, and if it was going to be a boy, we decided at that point that we didn't want to circumcise. So we did a lot of research, read a lot of stuff, and just happened that way.
So you worked in a preschool,
Yeah, it was like a daycare.
and you had to
preschool.
change diapers.
Yes.
And were you shocked by what you learned?
I just thought it was strange because
Wh-
I had always been told that it was cleaner and healthier to circumcise.
Universal.
Yeah.
And as a
boys.
typical, now look at you. You got boys are born perfect. Thank you for holding that sign, Summer.
Yes.
But a typical, I mean, an American woman, most American women have never seen a normal man.
Yes, I didn't really know the difference.
And Summer wants to make sure that I get her protest sign on this, and that's really cute. Did Mom and Dad help make the signs?
Yes, they colored them for us.
The kids colored them. But Summer, do you recall? Was there any one moment in which, because most American women have never seen a normal man?
Yes.
Was there any one moment at which you were like, what does this mean, or can you explain any moment that you recall?
Well, I was a little bit naive in that I didn't realize how much surgery was involved. I assumed that it was a small. Oh, you're trying to show. I assumed it was a small surgery, that it was safe, that the babies didn't cry.
And they always present it like that too, don't they?
They do. Yes. I took my baby away. The nurse said that they didn't even cry, until I started doing research and realized that that's a big lie. That they do. And I have 4 boys, and the oldest is 7, and nobody has ever had a
3
single
boys.
issue.
And so
don't give us more boys.
So you went home and told Christopher what you had observed, and that's
Yep.
And so were you shocked?
I wasn't necessarily shocked. I was always curious as to why it was happening. It just seemed kind of strange that, like, there's no other part of any body that we take off like that at birth. So it was just a question of, well, why is that happening, and where does that practice come from? And there was a lot of kind of the religious aspect of it in Judeo-Christianity, where you want to circumcise children, or circumcise boys, I should say, not all children. And in doing research, actually, like, the original circumcision was actually a lot less than what medically is done now. So then it was, well, why is that happening? And it just seemed that even at the time, a lot of doctors were saying, well, it's your parent, you can choose that for your child, but there's really the cost-benefit analysis is one way or the other. It's kind of a wash. There's risk, but it has maybe some small benefit. So as we were doing that research, it just became more of a question of, well, why make that choice now? Why, if it's such a big, important thing to do, why do it now?
And you're now the proud father of
3 boys and
3 intact sons and a girl. I ended the cycle. Ladies and gentlemen, Christopher and Mandy and their beautiful family. Thank you for coming out and standing out here with Bloodstained Men and their friends. And ladies and gentlemen, here is yesterday's free speech zone, which you will recognize. So our free speech zone has been extended way into the plaza, as you can see. So when I say it's a mixed blessing, actually yesterday the doctors were going through the whole plaza, so they are being funneled through a narrow channel between the 2 sides of the intactivist contingents, which actually works to our advantage. So it's more like a perp walk today. Yesterday they had to walk in and out between us, mingling with us. This actually, you can see it's really, and there you can see doctors and conventioners on the steps. They're taking our photograph. It's a mixed blessing, but I think on balance it's actually in our favor. So here's our original corral where we were yesterday, but again, I have to emphasize, we were never confined to this area, but we did have to keep moving once we left this area. James Rigdon, we talked to your wife, Jessica, nurse from Southern Illinois, met your son, Nathan. And what's your take on, let me turn this way, James Rigdon, because I believe the lighting might be better this way. What's your take on what we're seeing here today?
It's okay. I mean, we've had a few international doctors come up and talk to us. The same old spew saying, we need to change our approach on how we approach these doctors and talk to these doctors. But I mean, Cassie, Cassie Walduck on our board of directors, had a perfect explanation. She said, "Listen, we've been doing this for the last 7 years. It's not something that we just started up with last night." She said the first year we were silent, and silence is not getting us anywhere. I mean, men are pissed off about this, and rightfully so. I mean, we can't control how someone has an anger, or hostility to being circumcised and being mutilated after birth. So then trying to tell us how we can and can't act, and how we should talk to these doctors, but when they're smirking and laughing at us, I mean, yeah, of course it's gonna raise up anger and hostility and everything else. So, but it's okay so far. It's still a decent day.
Thank you, James Rigdon, on the board of directors for Bloodstained Men and Their Friends, and the planner of the 2019 University Tour, James Rigdon, which was an outstanding success.
Thank you. I'm glad. It's the first of many to come. So let's keep on moving forward.
We will do that, James Rigdon, with your leadership and guidance. Bloodstained Men's Director of University Relations, ladies and gentlemen. And here is Brent Holland. Brent, you're angry that a doctor had the nerve to cut off part of your penis.
Of course, who wouldn't be upset with someone removing the most sensitive erogenous part of your body? Every human being has a right to intact genitals for that reason. Circumcision diminishes sexual pleasure, and nobody has the right to take that away from anyone.
And these doctors show incredible arrogance, unmitigated gall and arrogance to do this to male babies when we can't fight back, and we are going to be the men of the future. We are here now, and we are telling them, no, you did not have the right. You took away a fundamental human right from us.
Yes, and it's crazy how a number of medical professionals here smirk and laugh at cutting of children's genitals. It's quite disgusting that they would laugh and smirk at a protest against cutting children's genitals.
Well, they've got the bottom line in mind, the almighty dollar.
Definitely. The United States is the only country in the world that routinely circumcises its male infants. Countries like New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and the United Kingdom, which routinely circumcised infants decades ago, are largely intact now. Those are countries that do not have a profit motive to perform an unnecessary, barbaric, harmful, immoral, and unethical procedure on male infants for profit. I believe that there is a cultural shift in our country. More parents are deciding not to circumcise their male infants. Unfortunately, the AAP is not following that cultural shift by at least condemning it like many other medical organizations around the world do. So I could be wrong, but it may be that this profit motive is the reason for the AAP not condemning infant male circumcision today.
The circumcision industry wants your son. Chilling words on a Bloodstained Men sign. The circumcision industry wants your son, and we know that's true.
It's definitely an industry.
It is an industry.
Medical doctors make money when they perform the procedure. They make money when they handle complications.
And you can see people taking your photograph there from the steps, from the portico here of the convention center.
Who cuts the genitals of healthy children? Unethical medical doctors. It's quite disgusting. Doing it per a parent's request, that's even more disgusting. For profit, absolutely disgusting.
I'm live on Facebook, but I can hold the camera away. No. Nobody's going to hear it. No, I don't think this here.
Equal rights for boys and girls, except in the United States, where unethical medical doctors
cut the genitals of healthy infant males.
To the best of my knowledge, I do not.
As well as disrespect every child's basic universal rights to bodily integrity, autonomy, and protection from harm.
Not that to the best of my knowledge, not even individuals. If there are a few people that stand down like you, if they do anything, they would be there.
Okay, no problem, man.
So I think,
like I said, if you need anything,
yeah. Great.
We here. Man, I love you. And you know.
Yes, sir.
Good with you, man.
Thank you.
All right.
So we just talked, I don't know if you could overhear that conversation, we just talked to a kind officer with the New Orleans Police Department, who has been our liaison and helping us maintain our freedom of speech while coordinating the security concerns of the convention, the Memorial Convention Center here in New Orleans. And here is and do you have a minute to talk to us?
Yeah.
And what's this little one's name?
Lilith.
Lilith?
Yes, sir.
And tell me why you're here.
I'm here to stand up for little baby boys that aren't able to stand up for themselves.
What's your name, ma'am?
Heather Warren.
Heather Warren. Who are you with? Did I meet you yet?
You have not met me yet.
Okay, right. I didn't think so. You came while I'm doing this live broadcast. So Heather Warren, where are you from?
I'm from out near Covington.
Covington, okay. Right, over in St. Tammany Parish.
Yes, sir.
Across the lake. And this is Lilith?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any other children?
She's my only one. I'm 23 weeks pregnant, though.
And do you know if it will be a boy or?
We don't know. We're hoping to not find out till it's here.
But you clearly know about this issue and you're out here with us.
Yes, sir.
Tell us how you learned about this issue.
In one of my due date groups when I was pregnant with her, they spoke about it a lot, and I did a lot of research into it and decided it wasn't for me.
And do you run into objections from friends, relatives?
A lot of my friends and relatives are very pro-circumcision, so I know if I do have a boy, I'm going to be met with a lot of resistance for not.
Isn't that amazing? And you clearly know enough that it's not even a possibility.
Correct.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us here on the front lines, and thank you, Lilith.
Can you wave? No.
That's fine. And did someone give you some cards to hand out?
No, I haven't gotten any.
Let me see if I may have a small stack left. Yes. There's some.
Thank you very much, sir.
Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's Brett Johnson and Brett.
You're live too right now.
This is live versus live. Brett Johnson is live on Facebook, and I'm live on Facebook with Blood Statement and Friends. Brett Johnson, really, it's been extraordinary here at the convention center. They have presumably to help the doctors are upset. The doctors inside are upset, Brett Johnson. And they are complaining about the protests out here. So to help them, the convention center has brought out additional barricades. And but when they brought out barricades and as we're talking, ladies and gentlemen, you can see the foot traffic in and out of the convention center. But they brought out the barricades, Brett Johnson, to try to corral us. But in my opinion, it actually ended up helping us because we extended our free speech zone into over half the plaza.
Yeah, almost every demand they've made of us has ended up working out better for us. You know, so we could. I feel like, Oh, I have a couple. Well, funny story. You probably, I don't know. You might have seen the wanted poster I made.
Well, did see the wanted.
Just like an hour ago, I saw two more directors.
Let me just
on the
clarify.
board.
Brett Johnson has made a wanted poster, ladies and gentlemen, with some of the chief villains of the American Academy of Pediatrics circumcision advocacy. So you have their pictures. There's about 20 or 15 or 20 of them, and you recognized one of them.
Yeah, two of them.
Two of them.
Dr. Jane Meshin-Foy walked by not too long ago, and I called her by name, and she waved and looked over her shoulder, and I accused her of the crimes that are on the bottom of the wanted poster and asked, when's the board going to vote to end the genital mutilation of American boys? And then Also, Dr. Anthony Johnson walked that way. I've seen him walk that way twice now, and I've called him out. And yeah, you can see him react. They're like, it's a little unsettling for him to be called by name. They didn't realize they were so notorious, but they are, now they are.
The faceless men and women behind the curtain.
Yes.
You have given them a face with your wanted poster.
I know, and they're the ones with the power to bring about change in this corrupt organization. So they're guilty, whether or not they do penis cuttings themselves. They're guilty because they're I'm sure they're involved with the policy.
Oh, so it's the AAP board of directors.
Yeah, this was the AAP board of directors.
Ah.
Yeah.
Of course.
One side of my wanted poster has the board of directors and some past presidents, and the other side has the task force on circumcision of 2012.
Yeah,
all them.
The liars who actually wrote that statement, that 2012 statement.
Yeah, and some of the past presidents and things. So yeah, I didn't have time to do a lot of research to find the most outspoken proponents of penis cutting, but. So
they're all laying low.
Yeah,
they all laying low. They made their statement, and they're pretty much they're in hiding now.
Yeah.
In deep disgrace. That statement has been condemned by the European medical community, as you know, by 38 leading European physicians from I believe 18 different countries. So I mean, they have been thoroughly scorched.
Yeah. But it is kind of fun to try to identify them. It's almost like bingo or something. You can cross them off. It's kind of fun to call them out and see the reaction and just not let them get away with this crime.
They're not going to get away with it. Thank you, Brett Johnson from Kansas City. And Brett Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, with the Cockfight organization and protesting across the upper Midwest. And I know you have plans to protest many more places.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got a lot of ideas. We're anxious to try it. Yeah, we're excited about it. Yeah.
Thank you, Brett Johnson.
All right, thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, here is Franny Max, the Franny who takes it to the max. Franny Max.
Hi, everybody.
I have known you for 7 years. You were there in Washington D.C. at the largest bloodstained men protest, the first bloodstained men protest at GIAW. In Washington, D.C. in 2013.
That's correct.
How far have we come, Franny Max?
I think we've come a long, long way. I've been getting more and more people come up to me, all excited that they're with us, giving us a lot of thumbs up. Unfortunately, you still have like a few recalcitrant people who refuse to come to terms with the fact that, circumcision is a harmful procedure that's not necessary and that they've been harmed by it. And sometimes you see these men go into this, I call it circumrage. They freak out and they get very angry and they start calling us names and they even chase us down the street. One of the girls I was with yesterday, we were walking towards, around Lafayette Square, towards Bourbon Street, and he ripped the sign out of her hand. Just like that, there wasn't even any interaction between her and him. And he was just in a tizzy for no apparent reason, But more and more people come up to us and say that they agree with us.
And Franny Max, over your shoulder, there's a doctor who appears to be a doctor. Franny, let's walk over this way. And you can see he's gotten down there. He's taking a picture of the circumstraint.
Yeah. Are you from Mexico? Yes. Yeah.
So international doctor, ladies and gentlemen, we know the international doctors get it. You don't circumcise babies in Mexico. Yeah, it's a terrible thing.
Some information for you. There's an organization called Doctors Opposing Circumcision.org. Yeah, but not in Mexico, here. But we need you to speak up, Who speaks Spanish here?
Yo sí me defiendo español. Entonces usted está en contra de la circuncisión.
Is Angela still here? Angela speaks Spanish.
Gracias por su
Yeah, but so does Brett.
Estoy hablando en español.
Conservar el prepucio. Porque da protección aquí.
Yeah, he says it's important to keep the foreskin because it protects the boy.
traumas.
Traumas? It protects it from traumas. Yeah. It protects the head of the penis from traumas. Protects it.
Yeah.
Protects it.
Conserva humedad. Conserva humedad.
It keeps the moisture inside the penis. The foreskin.
Y una circuncisión en un baby reseca mucho seco. La piel. Seco.
Yeah,
it dries out the penis.
Y hay mucho problema de piel, de glande.
The glands
Queratitis.
becomes keratinized.
Ya. Entonces, hay que mantener el prepucio del bebé. Hay que mantener el prepucio.
It maintains the prepuce.
You have to keep the.
No circuncisión.
Doctor, do you have a minute to talk? Can we bring Angela forward? Angela, would you come over here? Angela, could you introduce yourself to him and let him know how conversant you are in Spanish?
Hola, soy Angela. Soy una enfermera de Your Whole Baby, una organización para proteger el prepucio.
Ajá. El bebé. Sí, es importante.
Sí, es muy importante por proteger.
Yeah.
And then if you just briefly summarize what you're all saying to each other.
Well, I mean, we were just talking about the same thing. He says that the prepuce is necessary for protection of the glands of the penis, and that when you remove it, it keratinizes, the glands becomes keratinized.
So this is well-known information, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. This is information that Your Whole Baby discusses on a regular basis.
Can you please tell them about doctors opposing circumcision and to join them?
Do we have one of those pamphlets from doctors?
But Angela,
I think
so
there.
but the information that he's saying, American doctors have not agreed with
Right.
this. Can you explain that to him?
Los médicos en América no piensan que la información que usted está diciendo no es una cosa que los doctores aquí no quieren.
Todo.
No.
Hay tres cosas. Protege el glande.
It protects the glands.
Ya. Segundo, evita problemas del glande.
It
Enfermedades.
prevents all the problems of the
Del
glands.
glande. Y tercero, es importante por los traumas del niño.
Yeah, and it's also very important because of traumas in children. You know, when children fall down and get injured, the glands could become injured, but the foreskin protects that.
Can you tell me about meadostenosis?
En el bebé, la mometasona en cream es buena en ellos, porque la fibra muscular la empieza a elongar. Y eso después ya permite la retracción.
So over time, the glands is allowed to separate from the foreskin is allowed to separate from the glands, and it provides the gliding motion that we all respect so much.
Yes. Entonces, la mometasona en cream en babies pequeños es buena.
Right.
Ayuda mucho.
Sí.
Conserva.
And because it's attached when they're babies, it helps them to stay protected. And that's why la organización Your Whole Baby, nosotros ¿cómo se dice? Usar educación para los padres y los médicos y las enfermeras para proteger el fibre en el prepucio. Ajá. Entonces, en los Estados Unidos, los doctores tratan el prepucio como una cosa que tiene que mover cuando un bebé es nuevo, se nació.
No, y entre el bebé pequeño no dice cuánto cortas, no dice cuánto cortar. En los libros no dice corta medio centímetro, 1 centímetro, no dice.
No,
entonces,
nada.
Te vas y...
What's he saying?
Right. So
Forced retraction.
He said, I was telling him that in the United States, doctors treat the baby's foreskin as an adult foreskin and recommend that we retract it. And he said no, because you can't take any of it. You can't retract it. It's that fiber in between is a protective measure.
Would you ask him a question for me? Tell him that he does not seem to fear. He's not afraid of being saying these things on this video.
Okay.
Ask him why the American doctors coming out of this convention will not speak to us.
Usted no tiene miedo de decir todas las cosas, pero los médicos en América tienen mucho miedo decir esto en el video, porque tú no tienes miedo.
No, porque hay que cuidar los bebés.
Because I'm taking care of babies.
Cuidar baby.
I'm protecting babies.
Proteger a los bebés.
But American doctors claim to be taking care of babies, and yet they say circumcision is a good thing.
Pero los médicos en los Estados Unidos dicen que también están protegiendo los bebés con circuncisión.
Does he have any comment on that?
¿Tienes algo para decir de esto?
Hay que proteger el pene del bebé.
Sí.
No, por favor.
Sí, you're not going to protect a baby by cutting his penis.
So thank you, doctor.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
From Mexico City. Thank you.
Did he get our car?
Jose.
Jose.
And there you see it, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we tell you about international doctors.
Did you see his face when I asked him why he's not scared? I think you had the camera on me, but his face was like what am I have to be afraid of?
Yeah.
Hi, thank you.
Like it was a confusing question.
Gracias, muy amable.
Gracias.
So, Angela, we were just talking this morning. You actually have an extraordinary story to tell. I don't know if you've made that post or if you want to talk about that yet.
No, I haven't made the post yet, but I will talk about it.
That is how I learned that you are fluent in Spanish, and we saw it there in action. So there are several things I want to talk to you about. What we just saw just now, if that had been an American doctor, it would be an extraordinary moment in intactivism. I mean, there have been several doctors. Dr. Alex Rada spoke to us, but few and far between of the doctors who come out of the convention center. I've had several tell me they agree with us out here, but they won't go on. They won't go public with it. They won't let me record them. They won't take a picture. And so I had you ask him, why isn't he afraid? And he was like, what? Like, that
like,
sounds
why
crazy.
would I be afraid? I'm protecting babies. Like, shouldn't they be protecting babies? So when I said to him, the American doctors say they are protecting babies by cutting off their penis, and he made the funniest face and said, how are you going to protect it by cutting off its protection? Like, that's crazy. Like, and it is crazy to everybody else in the world. But how are we, as medical professionals, supposed to take them seriously when they're trying to cut the only protection off that the baby has? And he made all the points that we make in all these organizations, that it keratinizes the glands, it takes away the protection against
trauma. He spoke like an intactivist.
Yes,
and
he
it's
did.
just basic. It's just basic medical knowledge.
I don't even know Spanish, and I know what he was saying with his hand gestures.
Yeah,
it was basic medical knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, it's like a no-brainer. This is like basic medicine, that if you have a thing that protects a part of the body, why would you cut it off to protect it? It just doesn't make any sense. It's illogical.
And as I said, what you and I talked about this morning, you have not made the post yet, but do you want to tell our viewers what you told me?
Yesterday I was standing right over here, and
I have to emphasize that it's because you are so fluent in Spanish that what you're about to tell us occurred.
Right, so I was standing here, and there was a man and his son. I assume it was his son. I don't know, but it was a man in his 40s and a boy in his teens, standing on the sidewalk.
Right here in front of the convention
over here in front of the convention center. And the boy stopped his father and said, "What are they protesting?" And
but in Spanish.
In Spanish, he said, "What are they protesting?" And the father began to explain to him that in the United States we do this crazy thing where we cut off part of the penis in the first week of life, and that we're protesting that because we're here at this medical conference. Where
and here's the doctor from Mexico City getting a selfie with us, ladies and gentlemen. And clearly, we really, really deeply respect the international doctors who are willing to talk to us. And did you get this card yet, doctor?
Yeah, I gave him one.
Oh, okay, we got his business card.
I gave him some. Maybe we should give him some.
Can I get a picture of you holding our card?
surgery.
They're pediatric surgeons.
Yeah.
Excellent.
There is no medical reason to circumcise a male
Pediatric
infant.
surgery.
Not
Yes,
one.
right.
This is
Not one.
Excellent.
The
Do
doctor
you do
over here
repairs?
uses urinary
Usted
circumcised male
reparación de pene por, después de
Yeah,
circuncisión.
yeah.
Sí. Ajá, y usted, ajá, yeah, he repairs circumcised penises.
Would you hold that front like that?
Ask him if he tiene una foto. Does he have a lot of
And there we go, and it's Dr. Salcido. Dr. Salcido from Mexico City, ladies and gentlemen. Blessed Amen has made a friend out here at the convention center, and it is the international doctors who stand with us. Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much.
Muchos problemas con la circuncisión and deformities. He sees multiple deformities.
Oh, so
After circumcision, he repairs them.
Deformities.
Sí.
Mucho
Too much bleeding? Too much blood?
stenosis.
Stenosis.
Meatostenosis.
Yeah,
Stenosis de meato.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stenosis, metal stenosis after circumcision. He repairs that. A lot.
A lot of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to repair that too. You do the reparation of the meatal stenosis.
Yes.
Is it you or a urologist?
¿Usted performa esta cirugía o los urologists?
Mucho cirujano.
Yeah, many different children surgeons do this.
And
You-
urology.
Huh?
Urology pediatrics.
Yeah, urology too.
If you tell him this, that we know that there is a problem in Mexico City, and and what he is speaking of indicates that we do know that there are American-trained doctors in Mexico City who are circumcising parents, particularly in the upper middle class. They are circumcising Mexican boys in opposition to the whole culture of the Mexican people, and so we have people in Mexico who are on our side and telling us that there is a problem in Mexico City with some of the doctors trained in America are bringing circumcision to Mexico City.
Está diciendo que nosotros conocemos que los doctores de los Estados Unidos están haciendo el cirugía de los bebés en Mexico City, en la Ciudad de México, la gente que tiene mucho dinero y que ellos quieren que los niños parecen americanos, y entonces están haciendo esta operación en los niños en Mexico City, en la Ciudad de México, y están moviendo allá para performar, para hacer
la cirugía.
It's a big problem.
Es un problema que nosotros vemos.
Just tell him once the father is circumcised, then he wants to circumcise the babies.
Es cuando un padre tiene una circuncisión, él quiere que sus bebés todo parecen él.
Para estar igual.
Sí, para estar igual.
Pero hay
What's
que-
that mean?
Stupido. They want to look the same.
So, did you explain to him about
we
American-trained
have,
doctors in Mexico
doctors from
City?
the United States
And you know
traveling to
about that?
Mexico City.
Hay que comunicarse mucho,
Sí.
hablar los problemas,
Yeah.
decirles.
He says we need to inform the parents and make sure that they're making the right decision. We need to be loud and
You should make a law.
nosotros necesitamos una acción legal para decir que nosotros no podemos
And
hacer eso.
does he want to introduce his colleague to us?
Y tú quieres introducir su amigo.
Sí, es pediatra.
¿Cómo se llama?
Es Román.
Roman. Dr. Roman.
¿Y qué tipo de doctor?
Pediatra,
Pediatra.
puericultor
Okay.
de la ciudad de Guadalajara, Jalisco, México.
He's a pediatrician in the city of Guadalajara, Mexico.
And we have talked to numerous pediatricians from Mexico over the years at these conventions. Have you seen us before at a convention?
Vea nosotros en una otra convención. Ajá. ¿Es esto tu primera convención de American Academy of Pediatrics? Nosotros estamos a todas las convenciones de American Academy of Pediatrics y de American College of Gynecologists. Sí, and obstetrics and gynecology.
Tell them that it's two doctors that either do the circumcisions, either the pediatricians or the obstetricians.
En los Estados Unidos tenemos.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I will move on and get back to Angela a little bit later because it's getting a little difficult to follow the conversation in Spanish. But you can see that we have a very, very thoughtful doctor and his colleague, and they have spoken here on the record to Blessed Men and their friends, to the protesters outside the Memorial Convention Center. You can see that people are coming out of the convention hall, gathering on the convention hall steps. There is a heavier police presence than yesterday.
Enough of that. Enough of that.
Michelle, can we talk to you? If you haven't lost your voice to her, let's go in the shade here. So Michelle Cromaldi from Boston, ladies and gentlemen. Michelle, if you stand here, then I can get the Memorial Convention Center behind you.
Perfect. Hello.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Cromaldi is a little hoarse. Michelle, you have been a vociferous intactivist here from Boston, and you take no prisoners in your intactivism.
Nope. They're not getting away with this. They're hurting my friends, they're hurting my family, they're hurting our whole community, our whole country, and they're not going to get away with it.
What progress do you see?
Well, a lot of support from doctors, especially doctors just coming down to say, like, give us the thumbs up and tell us, like, hey, we support you. And, then of course, if they're American, I tell them, please educate your colleagues. And they say, I try. Is it ever good enough? Can they, can they get their colleagues to stop doing it? I don't know, but it's definitely been a switch where there are a lot of even American doctors. The foreign doctors, the international doctors, it always seems they show a lot of support. But I think a lot of the American doctors are coming around too, and even saying, I stopped doing them. I talked to a doctor yesterday that had started doing it in school, and then when she started working in a practice, they all did it, and just something about it didn't seem right with her. And after finding out, more about the situation, she was able to become a conscientious objector and does not perform them in her office at all. She has left the office that performed them. She was from Tennessee. So I do think a lot of doctors are coming around and opening their eyes.
I mean, it's just a disgusting thing for someone who claims to be a healer of people or a caretaker for children, or as the Mexico City physician just said, that it's his job to protect children.
Absolutely. The foreign doctors are amazing. It's so rewarding. I mean, we know we're right. There's no question. It's just the simple fact
He
of
described the whole process of keratinization after circumcision, of the development of the separation of the foreskin from the head of the penis over time. All the anatomy that American doctors claim doesn't exist and that no one knows. The physician from Mexico City spoke of it that it's just normal human anatomy.
Yeah.
So American doctors are negligent.
They really are.
Or ignorant, or willfully stupid.
We talked to a doctor earlier today who's just trying to defend her stance to us of performing them. And she came and spoke to us and said there are medical benefits that do warrant this procedure done preventatively, and before any issues ever occur. And I asked her, how come yesterday her European colleagues told me there was no medical benefit and this is never needed on children? And she said, well, it must be environmental.
Oh,
I said, my husband is an American. He's intact. My children are American. They're intact. I have friends, peers who are intact. It's not environmental. They have never had a problem. My father-in-law has lived in America his entire life. He's 80 years old. He's intact. He's never had a problem with his penis. It's nothing to do with the environment. It's them. They're the common denominator. They're the ones lacking education. That's the issue. It's not our
unbelievable
it's not our
environmental.
bodies.
Environmental. That's a new one.
Then she went on to suggest that, well, maybe we have more rape and incest here.
What?
Infections. She's
This was a
trust.
physician?
A physician today. Me and Jill spoke with her right there.
And she does circumcisions?
She does them, and everyone in her office does them, and she was basically defending her stance. Yeah.
Unbelievable. The stupidity from a physician.
To suggest
environmental.
Environmental, and then when I'm like, come on, like, you know, there's plenty of Americans without issues. She goes on to suggest that, you know, the rape and incest. And then I went on to suggest that it's their fault too.
So she was suggesting that we circumcise American boys because there's more rape and incest in the United States?
I literally don't know. She
was
said
this
they have a lot
woman
of
drunk?
infection.
Was she drunk?
She didn't appear to be. She said they have a lot of infections because you know, different reasons. Could be rape, could be incest, and things like that. That is absolutely ridiculous to circumcise any baby boy for that reason. If you're scared of that for him, please take him away from those people in the first place. Like, I mean...
So Michelle Cromaldi, ladies and gentlemen, telling us a new one. The circumcision industry has cooked up a new excuse for American circumcision. It's environmental.
Yeah, I was dying.
They're environmentalists.
I'm like, when I suggested that it was possibly them that was the issue, they were, again, the common denominator, and they're the ones causing the issue with intact boys. And I said maybe that the reason Europeans never have problems is because they never...
And they're the foreign doctors, or the international doctors. Thank you, doctor. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Give us the thumbs up. And you can see they are in...
Yeah. Thank you. The support from the foreign doctors.
We couldn't ask for a stronger show of support than that. Strong show of support. Michelle Cromaldi. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get back and talk to Angela about what she overheard in Spanish yesterday in just a minute. Michelle Cromaldi, thank you. Thank you for your deep conviction and fiery passion to protect these babies.
Thank you.
And coming down from Boston, part of the Boston crew with Bloodstained Men and their friends.
Thank you.
And Angela, we left our audience hanging.
It's okay.
But let me just summarize for those who may not have heard that part of this broadcast. So Angela, you were standing here at the convention center yesterday, and you are fluent in Spanish. A father and son, and I believe that also, I don't know if the mother falls in.
The mother wasn't here yesterday with them.
Okay.
It looked like they were like out on lunch break or something, and walking around seeing the site.
All right, but the key thing is that you are fluent in Spanish, and you overheard a conversation in Spanish between a father and son. They were speaking, thinking that the average American probably does not know Spanish, and that's probably true. I don't know it. Franny probably doesn't know it, although Franny may claim to know it. But at any rate,
I know a little bit of Spanish.
Yeah,
Angela, you are fluent and you heard it. So tell us what you heard in Spanish.
I heard the son stop the father and said in Spanish, "Dad, what are they protesting?" And his dad said, "Well, in the United States they do this crazy thing where when a baby's born, they cut the foreskin off. And they claim that it is a benefit to the baby. But these people feel that it's not, and so they're here protesting." So the son, his jaw was on the ground. He said, "What? Why do people do? You didn't do this to me, right?"
And this is all in Spanish.
And the father said, "Of course not. We don't live in this country. Why would we do it?" And he said, "Well, I don't understand. Are they their bodies different here? Why do they do it here? We don't need it there. We know that we don't need it. Why do they not know? I thought this was America." And his father said, "They're just behind in the times when it comes to the natural penis. You know, it's normal to leave it the way that it is. Babies are born with a protective layer. They don't realize this, but these people are here to educate and protest this procedure." And so then they just continued walking. Well, this morning I saw them again with a woman who had a badge on.
And I should emphasize that they don't know you from Adam. They don't know
they have no idea. I
that
was
you were
watching
the
them
American
yesterday.
woman who overheard their conversation in
Right.
Spanish yesterday and knew something about the son's surprise and even horror. Because he ask, "Did you do that to me?" Is that what?
Yeah, he said, "Did you do that to me?" Like, why would I do that? Like they were so confused in that, you know, today I saw them come out of the convention center. The mother was with them, and the
And did you tell me she appears to be a pediatrician?
Yeah, she appears to be a pediatrician. I couldn't see the ID close up enough to tell like what country they're from, but the son, as they were walking by, nudged his father, like, look, they're here again today.
And the son is about 17 years old.
He looked
You
like
showed
he
me.
was between 14 and 15.
You got his picture, didn't you?
Yeah, I got the picture of the
And
son
you're
and the
gonna
father
make a
yesterday
Facebook
and
post
today
about
with the
this.
mother. Yeah, I'm going to put it up there as soon as I have a chance.
Tell our friends how they can find your Facebook page.
I'm probably going to put it on the Bloodstained Men group later on today. But my name is Angela Marie on Facebook. I'll make sure that I share it publicly so that we can share it in the group.
Good,
but,
if it's public.
yeah.
Awesome. But you got a picture of the family today.
Yeah, I got a picture of them yesterday, having the conversation, the multiple stages of the conversation, and then I got a picture of them today. I wish I could close up on her ID. That's why I was taking pictures today, but I can't see what it says. Maybe some detective can figure it out for me.
Awesome. Good work, Angela Marie from Boston. Again, the Boston crew, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
And sir, I know we met earlier. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience? We're live on Facebook.
Okay, well, I'm Skyler. I'm from the Gainesville, Florida area.
And you drove over from Gainesville, Florida to join us here at the Memorial Convention Center in New Orleans.
Yep, and I'm glad I decided to because it's been really fun.
When did you drive over?
Friday.
Friday. And tell me why you felt so strongly about doing this.
Well, it's affected me pretty negatively in a couple ways that I don't really want to talk about, but it just also seems like a really important issue, more important than a lot of people realize. And there's no reason for it to continue like this.
Have you noticed anything in particular about the interactions with the doctors here?
It's been interesting to watch. You can tell that some of them are on the same page as us, and others are definitely not. A lot of the foreign doctors seem appreciative of what we're doing.
You just overheard that whole conversation with the Dr. Salcido from Mexico City, who I think then gave us a huge, very friendly goodbye. I believe either victory sign or thumbs up. Well, thank you, Skylar from Gainesville, Florida, and we'll look forward to seeing you when Bloodstained Men comes to South Florida next year for the Super Bowl in South Florida circumcision crisis protest.
I'll look forward to it.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
And here's Courtney Shin, ladies and gentlemen. Courtney Shin, how's your baby doing?
She's doing fine.
Let's take a look.
I was just going to try to get her sleepy. She's just chilling.
We don't want to disturb her. So this is Legacy Blossom. Hi, darling.
You say
How
hi?
you doing? There's
You
Legacy
say
Blossom,
hi?
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
The intact generation is here. Courtney Shin, what do you think? What have you seen? I heard you talking very eloquently, quite soft-spoken, but firmly and loud enough to be heard across this plaza this morning.
Yes.
Tell our viewers what I heard you saying to these doctors.
Yeah, I was really feeling it this morning, and I was telling them, I was like, my husband is a victim. My husband is a victim of sexual assault. When you force this onto a non-consenting individual, this is assault. My husband broke the cycle. He protected our son. I also told them the same, I would never remove a part of my son's penis. My son is born perfect. And I was really pushing that one a lot. But I said so much. I was just really, really feeling it. Whenever I would see somebody laugh or something like that, I would just really push it. My husband is a victim. When you laugh, you're making fun of victims. And I was like...
And I saw those laughs.
Yeah. It makes me so mad that I just can't help but talk. I know that sometimes I'm not as aggressive as others, but I try to really still get out the word and really speak it. And everybody has a different form of intactivism, and I love that. I love being out here with everybody because you can see it, and we all still get our point, and we still really push. And that's what I love. I love being out here. This has just been an amazing experience.
Thank you, Courtney Shin from Alabama. And ladies and gentlemen, we talked to Bethany Starnes yesterday. Bethany from the Houston, Texas area, and her independent 2-year-old, almost two son Lincoln. Hi, Lincoln. Nice to see you back here today. And Lincoln was handing out information cards and offered me one this morning, as I recall. Bethany, how's it going here? Second day, day 2 of the AAP convention.
Good. I'm cold, but we're doing good. Chasing him around mainly. Trying to hold some signs.
And I think it's great. I think it's great that people do see that, in fact, Bloodstained Men protests are family friendly.
Yep.
And you have brought your family out here, and I know you had your daughters out here somewhere too. There she is over there.
She's talking to David.
She's talking to David. Thank you, Bethany Starnes from Houston, Texas, ladies and gentlemen, and her son, Lincoln.
Hey, you. Is that for me? That happened. It was like watching the two of them. Put it down.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you can see there's a lull here. It's mid-afternoon on the Sunday AAP circumcision protest here at the AAP convention. We have sent a large crew of our protesters, 20 of us. You can see we have more than enough people to cover what's going on here. So 20 of us, possibly a few more, have gone over to the French Quarter. And I believe, well, I know there will be video out of that. James Lowen went along with them and he's videoing. I don't know if there's a live video going on over there, but let's cross the street. I see Ron Lau over there. I don't believe we talked to him yet, either today or yesterday. Ron Lau, the founder of TLC Tugger. I'll go over there and talk to him. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to introduce you, well, reintroduce you to Ron Lau, the founder of TLC. Ron, could we go into shade over here? I think the video quality.
I've been instructed to stay off the Riverwalk property, but I'll.
Well, we can just go into shade right here behind it. I think we got a better.
Welcome to Riverwalk property.
So, Ron Lau, this is day 2. I don't think I had a chance to talk to you yesterday. You've been largely on this corner. Have the police disturbed you or bothered you at all over here?
We were instructed to keep moving so that we wouldn't be guilty of loitering, and I think that's very fair. You know, I've encountered some pediatricians here who don't seem to realize they're here to keep learning. That's the reason anybody made this trip. We don't stop learning, right? And if culture is reason enough to tell the parents it's okay to cut their child, this is culture too. They should be interested in learning about this.
And by this, you mean?
I mean this protest, this information we've got to offer that they're declining to take.
Yes.
And the other thing
closed minds. It's shocking, isn't it?
I had a guy tell me, I said, here's information about why we're out here. He said, I don't care.
This was a pediatrician or one of the conventioneers.
Yes, absolutely, with the fanciest tag, the blue tag.
Oh, okay. I don't care.
And he doesn't care, and that's why we're here. But I've had a lot of time to think because we're standing around a lot. And it occurs to me that when we attend one of these medical conventions, we need, I think, for their benefit, because they're people in a hurry, a simple ask. And I've thought about what my ask would be. And what it is I need them to strike their AAP website policy statement on circumcision and put in its place, word for word, the policy statement of the Royal Dutch Medical Association. If they did that, they'd never hear from me again, because that statement is well footnoted with lots of medical citations, but it also factors in the ethics of cutting a child without his consent. And it mentions intersex. It's a very good policy, and really so many medical societies around the world are on the same page that we shouldn't be forcing amputations on healthy people who could just as easily weigh in at a later age. So really that is the simple ask, and I think the next time I'm at a medical convention, I'm going to be prepared with materials and signage that makes that clear, that that's what I want. And I can't control what everybody else wants. We're a herd of cats, and they can all come and demand their action points, but that's what I want from now on.
Excellent. Good thought. Good idea, Ron Lau. And there may be people watching who have vaguely heard about foreskin restoration. Give our viewers the elevator sales pitch for what foreskin restoration is and why it can help a man.
Sure. I mean, you restore your foreskin for better sex. And the reason that's true is when you take away the natural foreskin, you eliminate protection for the end of the penis. So the glans dries and dulls and gets less sensitive to fine touch. After you've restored for a while, it reverts to being shiny and supple like the inside of your lips. And when you restore and add more slinky slack to the shaft of the penis, you now have enough mobility of the skin to experience the slinking and gliding, which is a natural part of sex for men if they haven't been circumcised. Well, you can get that back even if you were circumcised. What we can't restore, unfortunately, for a circumcised man is the thousands of specialized pleasure-receptive nerve endings that were in the part that was cut away. So to restore that, I mean, is impossible. What I do to compensate is I come out here and I try to help the future generation to avoid that loss. But foreskin restoration is awesome. I mean, restored foreskin feels really good.
Ron Lau, briefly, three things.
Sure.
Briefly describe what it means to stretch the remaining skin. What is being done?
Oh, sure. So, believe it or not, there are simple appliances or methods you could use without owning an appliance that allow you to grip the skin tube and draw it forward of the head of the penis. All around the girth of the penis, you're gripping the skin evenly and you're wearing gentle tension. I recommend tension worn 10 to 12 hours per day. And when you're not tugging on the skin, you'll wear a retaining cone, which is you pull the skin forward so it covers the head of the penis, you pop the cone on, and it prevents the skin from rolling back and exposing the glans. And in that way, you're protecting your glans from day one. Even before you've really done any restoration, you're starting to benefit from the rejuvenation that begins. And within a few weeks, you'll notice definite changes to the ticklishness of the glans. But the real benefit to me of restoration is that slinky, gliding sleeve of slack skin that just changes the way sex works.
So is it the same principle as the way a woman's belly stretches during pregnancy?
I suppose. I mean, that's just such a very gradual and gentle thing. I really want to compare it to the ear gauging. You see these people with the giant holes in the ears. What they're doing is growing more ear. They're not just stretching their existing ear thinner. And likewise, when we restore foreskin, we're making the existing skin get longer, and we do it by encouraging a natural process which is already happening anyway, which is your cells continuously divide and replenish themselves to replace the cells that sloughed off at the surface of the skin. So by adding tension, we just accelerate the rate of cell division so that you wind up with more skin.
And does it hurt?
If it hurts, you're doing it wrong. You need to stop and readjust, take a break, remove the device, whatever it takes. But we wear gentle tension, and that's how we grow healthy skin that includes its share of nerve fibers and blood vessels and muscle fibers.
So that stretched skin is, I mean, it's the real deal.
Yes, it's your skin, just more of it.
Two final questions. How can people get in touch with you? And you are the founder of TLC Tugger. You make a well-respected product at a reasonable price. How can people get in touch with you?
Sure. Well,
and can they get in touch with you personally?
Well, of course. Every TLC Tugger user is somebody who can contact me by email or phone, and we also have our user forum where people using any method can assemble and ask each other questions.
That was my third question.
Yeah,
so
we'll take care of that one. But the way to reach me is to go to the tlctugger.com website. Tugger has 2 G's, and we have a contact form.
So spell it out just to make it clear.
TLCTUGGER.com. I won't show you that because it's got a penis on it. Well, I had it printed out in bold-faced type on my leaflet, but my leaflet's not for mass audiences.
Right.
Anyway, tlctugger.com, you'll find me, and then you'll have my phone number and email, and the user forum, and all the descriptions.
And I know you answer phone calls.
I surely do when I can fish my phone out of my pocket before it stops ringing.
And so the third thing is and I've sent many people to the TLC Tugger forum. I think that's very, very important. I know you have many threads in there. Just tell us briefly how they can find how people interested can get in there, and because I know people have questions. They may not want to buy a product, but they have questions and they want to know. They want to hear from other men.
They want to ask somebody who's not selling something.
Mm-hmm.
So the way to get to it is to go to our website where we're selling something, tlctugger.com, and click support, and it's right there in the menu, support and then user forum. That's the quick way. It's got a URL you can type if you're handy. It's foreskinrestoration.vbulletin.net.
I think they'll do better.
So go to tlctugger.com and click support user instruction or user forum, and you're right there. We also have videos of how the product is used. We have videos of our past media appearances. You're going to love the Howard Stern interviews. 35 minutes of just a lot of fun. Him making some dick jokes, but also letting me get my message out to his humongous audience. And we have a link to the Tosh.0 appearance featuring Brother K, which I thought was really valuable. To help us spread the message to people that are going to be more interested in sitting through a comedy than a lecture. And he did a great job of it.
Well, thank you, Ron Lau, founder, ladies and gentlemen, of TLC Tugger. And if you have questions, you can contact Ron Lau directly. And I know I have many women message me wanting information, and I always send them to Ron Lau, because I know that he and the user forum, that you will get accurate, helpful information and helping men and women. Ron Lau, thank you for your work.
Cheers. Thanks for being here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's my live broadcast here from the Memorial Convention Center. I will not be able to bring you the any live broadcast from the French Quarter. It's about a mile from here, and I am not going to walk over there and do a live broadcast from there, even assuming I could find them. But if you want to see my live broadcast from the French Quarter yesterday, that is on Bloodstained Men and Their Friends. On yesterday's videos, you will enjoy that. It was just amazing, amazing. We gave out just hundreds and hundreds, literally hundreds. I can't count them. We came into this protest, we came into this weekend with about 3,500 cards, and we're down to a handful of cards. We have just handed out thousands of cards this weekend at the Memorial Convention Center and in the French Quarter in New Orleans. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me on this live broadcast from the Memorial Convention Center. Please support Bloodstained Men with a donation in any amount. You know that your kind donations have fueled the Bloodstained Men protests across the nation. I will continue to work my heart out on behalf of our nation's children, doing for our sons and other families what I wish someone had done for my family and for your family. We are changing this. We are changing America. We're changing the culture. It's working. So go to bloodstainedmen.com. You can make a donation through the PayPal button there. Our mailing address is there. You can send us a check, or you can go on the left-hand column of this Facebook page, Bloodstained Men and Their Friends. Go on the left-hand column and you'll see a tab called Fundraisers. Click on that Fundraisers and make a donation to Bloodstained Men and Their Friends. We are all volunteers. Your donations go only for our travel expenses, hotels, food, gas, airline tickets, etc. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me here today and this weekend at the 2019 AAP Convention Protests in New Orleans. We will continue to reach these pediatricians. I can see it in their walk, ladies and gentlemen. They are ashamed of what they are doing. There's deep shame and disgrace in the body language and the looks of so many of these pediatricians. Others quietly say to me, thank you for doing this. Thank you for being here. And so we know there is conflict within the AAP over this. Right now there appears to be a stalemate between a fanatical group of pediatricians who believe it is their right. It is their right and duty to circumcise American babies. They issued a statement in 2012 that came back to haunt them because it has been condemned around the world.
Genitals are healthy children. Quack.